Welcome to the Worldwide Marriage Encounter Experience Enhancements 2024 video training. We are Joe and Sue Tallarico, your hosts for this training. We are from the San Francisco Bay Area in Region 12. The purpose of this training is to share the foundation of why these enhancements were developed, describe in detail each of the enhancements and how to implement them seamlessly, and to review the necessary steps to prepare for your experience. There is a document titled WWME Experience Enhancements 3-2024 that you can download and follow along with this training.
The creative team was born from the idea that we needed to question how we as a ministry looked at those couples and priests yet to live an experience. What can we do to keep it fresh, youthful, attractive, and relevant to the world around us today? How can we do this and at all times protect the integrity of our movement, that is, the nucleus, the beauty and passion of our couples and priests as they share their journey? Your creative team consists of Ken and Janine Kessler with Father Hugo Nelson Gomez Sevilla, Father Bill Hill, Father Mike Smith, Randy and Mary Arias, Matt and Gail Quinn, Frankie and Claudia Costa, and Sue and myself. A little background before we get started. We begin with Father Chuck Gallagher, who heard about this young priest in Spain who had developed a program to help young couples who were married and dealing with all the intricacies of life. Realizing the great need here in North America, Father Chuck became the founding father of our ministry today. Father Chuck has numerous videos available on YouTube that are wonderful to watch as he encourages and challenges us to make a difference in our world today by strengthening marriage and holy orders. We often need to remind ourselves that this ministry belongs to Jesus, and he asks us to make decisions that are made with what our couples and priests who have yet to live an experience might require. It's not what we want, it's what they need. Thus, Father Chuck's quote is so relevant. Marriage encounter is not ours. It belongs to those who haven't made it yet. The most important people in the encounter are those who haven't yet done a weekend. At the 2019 World Council meeting, North America was asked to explore how we could make our experiences more attractive and engaging for today's couples and priests. Looking at our experience, we asked ourselves, what could we do to enhance, to make it more interactive and more exciting for our couples and priests? How could we make it more engaging and attractive so that couples desire to continue on the journey with us and have them invite others to attend and participate in this wonderful experience? We realized that we would need to look at this both long-term goals as well as short-term, those things that we could do on our own without needing World Council involvement. The long-term goal would be looking at our current outline and mentality, which changes to would require World Council approval. The short-term goal was to look at how we are presenting the concepts of the experience and to make it more attractive, more engaging for today's couples and priests. In other words, what can we do right now? As a team, based on many surveys and feedback, we are introducing 6 enhancements to our current experience that were tested from March 2023 through February 2024 and approved by the North America Secretariat Council to be implemented no later than January 1st, 2025. Please do not let the numbers scare you. These enhancements are easy to implement, do not add any additional time to the experience, but yet have had a powerful impact for our couples and priests who have attended these trial experiences. Many of the enhancements have already been done for you, as you will learn a little bit later. Please note that none of these enhancements change the content of our experience, but rather change how some of the concepts are presented. The enhancements are as follows. There's now 5 banners in the conference room. We have soft Christian instrumental music that's played in the conference room during all the writing times. There's a video which reviews the WEDS process. We've added our personal wedding photos and a world map in Talk 9. And we're introducing Wooclap, which is an audience participation poll. And lastly, we have an inviting activity. One discovery that we had during the testing period was that it's really helpful to have two tech-savvy presenting team couples every experience, or a tech couple. And please take note, the tech couple can be a community couple. In fact, we encourage this. Getting our community involved in all aspects of our ministry helps us to grow together as an unstoppable force. And the tech couple has the opportunity to further strengthen their relationship. In this slide, you'll notice and see an example of all the banners that are currently being used, and an example of the conference room by the end of the experience where all are set up. What we are attempting to do is to create a warm and welcoming environment immediately upon a couple's and priest arrival. We have had instrumental soft music playing in the background as our community welcomes each couple and their priest as they enter the conference room. The purpose is to get them feeling comfortable from the start, getting them involved immediately, and to help solidify in their mind that they made a great decision by attending this experience. To picture the 5 banners in the room are, the first one is to live your best life in love, which we put by the registration table. The second is feelings, used for the intro talk. The third is that love is a decision, used for marriage in today's world. The fourth is unity, used for God's desire. And the fifth is WEDS, used for impact of dialogue. In this example, you see pictures of the registration table with the Live Your Best Life in Love banner and a picture of the Feelings banner for the intro talk. Please take note that the banners are put up one at a time, coinciding with the talk that they go with. Then they are rotated counterclockwise so that the appropriate banner for the specific talk is closest to the presentation table during that talk. Here in the 2 pictures, you can see the Love is a Decision banner during Marriage in Today's World and the WEDS banner during Impact of Dialogue. Notice in the picture on the left how the Feelings banner from the Friday evening on your intro talk is moved counterclockwise to the left of the presenting table. The picture on the right shows how Love is a Decision is now on the left and the WEDS is on the right during Impact of Dialogue. The banners are moved in this manner so that at the end, all 4 are displayed, providing a different and fresh look throughout the experience. The banners can be ordered from WWME's eStore Vistaprint. You can get to the WWME Vistaprint eStore by going to the WWME.org website and clicking on the USA eStore or the Canadian eStore in the top of the website in the center of the home page. Please allow 2 to 3 weeks lead time to ensure that you receive them in time for your event. Again, the banners are used as follows. Live Your Best Life in Love or Thriving Together banner put up by the registration table or check-in table. The Feelings banner is put up before Talk 1, Intro, Communicating Our Feelings. Love is a Decision banner is put up before Talk 3, Marriage in Today's World. The Unity banner is put up before Talk 6, God's Desire, and the WEDS banner is put up before Talk 8, Impact of Dialogue. We found great product and pricing for the banner stands and poster tubes from Amazon if you're purchasing banners with grommets. The retractable banners are self-storing. The WWME Experience Enhancements document gives you a more specific information on types of poster tubes and banner stands that are available. As with everything, these particular poster tubes and banner stands may be discontinued at some point in the future, but something similar is almost always available. We added instrumental Christian music embedded in the slides during the writing time. It's important to download these slides to the presentation computer prior to the experience. The videos and music will not work properly if you try to play them from SharePoint or from a flash drive. Note that the speaker icon on the bottom of the slide. It is timed to play exactly the length of the writing time. An example follows on the next slide. You need to remember to adjust your volume to about 20% of normal. The music should be soft and in the background so it's not disruptive or a distraction. Here's an example from Encounter with Self. Move your cursor to the bottom left of the speaker icon and click your mouse or touchpad to start the music, playing it at approximately 20%. Be sure to adjust the volume back to 100% though for the Aldonza, Dulcinea, and If Tomorrow Never Comes and the Impossible Dream videos. Also, be sure to adjust your power or sleep settings on your computer so that your computer does not go into sleep mode before the music ends, particularly in the longer writing times. In Talk 2, Encounter with Self, slide number 11 that contains the audio version of Aldonza was unhidden to be used while setting up the story of Aldonza. Once the setup is complete, advance to slide number 12 to play the Aldonza video. In Talk 4, Listening, a statement was included on the title slide to explain the connection between the Pope Francis quote that was just done in Wooclap to the listening talk they were about to hear. And it reads, as Pope Francis points out, truly, listening to each other doesn't come naturally. And this is what our next presentation is about, listening. In Talk 7, Risking to Trust, slide number 6 that contains the audio version of Dulcinea was unhidden to be used while setting up the story of Dulcinea. Once the setup is complete, advance to slide number 7 to play the Dulcinea video. In Talk 8, Impact of Dialogue, we added a video explaining the WEDS process. Over the years, we have received many comments that there's a lot of repetition within our experiences. We have already taught and reviewed the dialogue process several times. The video is just another way to provide this information using an engaging way of presenting it. Again, this was an addition addressing the numerous suggestions by couples and priests attending our experiences. Now, because the husband or wife will not be explaining the WEDS process in 2B2, an adjustment to the suggested wording is needed in 2B1 and 2B2. Here is the new suggested wording. In 2B1, we are on page 72 of the workbook. The process we follow for our dialogue is simple. We use the acronym WEDS to help us follow the steps. The letters stand for Write, Exchange, Dialogue, Select. We're going to talk about these steps now, and you can read about them in more detail in the workbook later. And then in 2B2, we call our dialogue our 10 and 10, 10 minutes of writing and 10 minutes of sharing. We are going to show a short video that explains this process. Note, the video takes the place of what the husband or the wife says in 2B2. And here is the WEDS video, which was created by Randy and Mary Arias.
Daily Dialogue.
Dialogue is the key to continue the growth you've begun this weekend. We call dialogue our 10 and 10.
Which means 10 minutes of writing and 10 minutes of sharing.
To remember the 4 steps of dialogue, we use the acronym WEDS. The first step, the W part of WEDS, stands for Write. Write your love letter for 10 minutes.
Describe your feelings as completely as possible.
The second step, the E part of WEDS, stands for Exchange. Exchange your love letters as if you were giving a precious gift.
Read the letters twice, once for the head and once for the heart.
The third step, the D part of WEDS, stands for Dialogue.
Verbally dialogue on the strongest feeling from one of your love letters for 10 minutes.
The last step, the S part of WEDS, stands for Select.
Together, select your question for the next day.
Happy dialoguing! May God bless you!
Because we have added the WEDS video slide to the PowerPoint deck, you will need to change the numbers of the subsequent slides in your template. The numbering changes for the slides are as follows. 2B3, the other spouse then continues on with the other things they should know, which is now PowerPoint slide number 4, Invitation to Daily Dialogue. In section 3, team shares a sample dialogue on a feeling in an area that is difficult for them to talk about is now PowerPoint slide number 5, Dialogue Sharing. In section 4A, Set the Scene for the Cana Passage is now PowerPoint slide number 6 of John 2, verses 1 to 11. In section 5, the open sharing is now PowerPoint slide number 7, open sharing questions. In section 6, explain open-ended dialogue and how to use this time is now PowerPoint slide number 8, continue to grow in intimacy. And in section 7C, the closing prayer and questions is now PowerPoint slide number 9, dialogue questions. In talk number 9, Marriage is Sacrament, we often thought that it was odd that such a personal talk, Marriage is Sacrament, used stock wedding photos. Therefore, we added 4 of our own wedding photos for slides 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can use 4 different ones, 2 of the same for both husband and wife, whatever works best for you regarding what pictures you have available. Here's an example of our wedding photo. Note, we have had some comments about adding all of the presenting couple's weddings photos instead of just the couple presenting this talk, but only photos of the couple that is presenting the talk should be used. After all, it's their story. Also, we have had comments about adding a photo of the priest ordination. We love our priest. However, in this talk, there is no mention of the priest ordination, so it's not appropriate to add his picture in this talk. Another addition was the Wave of Prayer slide. Slide number 14 was added to show prayers coming from all over the world. This is an animated slide where the pins will drop in. It should be shown when the husband or wife begins speaking about the church we have been speaking about has been praying for us throughout the weekend. Here's a look at the Wave of Prayer slide, animated, showing the couples are praying from all over the world. As soon as you advance to the slide, the pins begin to populate. These pins are based on the International Prayer Scroll. The International Prayer Scroll is a list of couples and priests from all over the world who have committed to pray during a certain hour every weekend for all experiences happening all over the world. It's available on Earl under the Weekend Pillar. Now, because we've added the Wave of Prayer slide to the PowerPoint deck, you'll need to change the numbers of the subsequent slides in your template. So 6C2, One Couple is Praying Especially for You, is now PowerPoint slide number 15. The church is praying for you. 6D, Song If Tomorrow Never Comes, is now PowerPoint slide number 16, If Tomorrow Never Comes. Place the arrow over the speaker on the slide and left-click to play the song If Tomorrow Never Comes, or if you must, use the weekend CD. We have also added the Sunset slide number 17 to play music during the extended dialogue. It is timed at 75 minutes. Again, please remember to adjust the volume of the instrumental Christian music played during the writing time. It should be around 20% of normal so that it just plays softly in the background.
We have added some interactive technology enhancements that were used in the He Makes All Things New enrichment. They are the Wooclap word cloud for personality styles when returning from encounter with self, and the Wooclap poll with the quote pertaining to listening when returning from lunch. These are what the activities will look like once they are completed with the participants on the experience. It is important to note that these activities do not add time to the experience. They are done while we are waiting for the couples to return to the conference room, after encounter with self and lunch during the travel time. They are related to either the previous talk, as in the case of the personality styles question after encounter with self, or related to the next talk, as in the listening quote, which refers to the listening barriers that we will talk about in listening, in particular, preparing my answer. Because we will be asking them to consider using their cell phones, adjustments need to be made to the suggested wording regarding cell phones in the intro talk, Part 1C1, Nuts, Bolts, and Facility, or Part 4A1, Avoiding Distraction Guidelines. The suggested wording is, although we don't want phones to be a distraction, there will be a few times this weekend when we will be using our smartphones to do some interactive activities. Please consider bringing your phones to each presentation, but make sure that they are on silent, not vibrate, or turned off, and only take them out when instructed to do so. If you don't have a smartphone, one of our team will be glad to assist you and let you use their phone during these activities. Now we are going to explain how to set up a Wooclap account and create the Wooclap questions that you will use during the experience. First, you will go to wooclap.com and sign up for a free account. With a free account, you can create an event with 2 questions or activities. You will need to have an email address and create a password for this account. Some local encounters have chosen to create the Wooclap account with a generic email that can be used by all presenting teams or tech couples when presenting an experience. For example, in our local encounter, which is called the Bay Area Encounter, we could create a Gmail address such as bayareaencounter@gmail.com with a password that will be easy for everyone to remember, like region #12. Once you have put in the email and password, click on Create Account. Once you have created an account or signed in if you already have an account, you will need to create your event. To do that, you will click on the blue Create Event button on the left of the Wooclap screen. A few things to note about creating an event. You only have to create an event one time. Later in this training, we will show you how to reset the event so that it can be used on subsequent experiences. Next, you will name your event. Click on the pencil next to where it says My New Event in the top of the Wooclap screen. Put in the name of your event, click on the check mark to save. To put in the first question, click on New Question on the upper right-hand side of your screen. A box will appear in the center of your screen with the various types of questions. Choose multiple choice for the first question. Enter the question, What is your dominant personality style, in the box, arrow number 1. Add helper, organizer, thinker, catalyst as the answer choices, arrow number 2. Spaces for 2 options are already in the template. Click on the plus sign to add additional options. You will have to specify a correct answer, arrow number 3. This does not affect the results of the question. Choose word cloud on display method on the right-hand side of the screen, arrow number 4. Click on Save on the bottom right of the screen, arrow number 5. To create the second question, choose New Question at the top right-hand side of the screen. A box will appear again with the various types of questions. This time, choose Poll. Next, put in the question, Who do you think said this? In reality, in many dialogues, we do not communicate at all. We are simply waiting for the other person to finish speaking in order to impose our point of view. It is essential to know how to listen, to be ready to change one's mind, to modify one's initial assumptions. Then put in these answer choices, clicking on the plus sign to add options C, D, and E. A, Matthew Kelly, B, Martin Luther King Jr., C, Yoda, D, Pope Francis, E, Mahatma Gandhi, then click Save. The first Wooclap activity, Personality Style Word Cloud, is used as the couples are returning from Encounter with Self. You should log in and have it ready to go on the screen before you start Encounter with Self and just minimize it. To launch Wooclap, log in at wooclap.com. Click on the event created. Click on Display next to How to Participate. The QR code and website option will appear on the screen. Be sure to let the couples and priests know that this is anonymous. When several of the participants are in Wooclap, click on the arrow on the right-hand side of the screen. In a few moments, we will show you a way to allow those couples or priests entering the room after the question is up to participate in the activity as well. Please note that the first time you do the Wooclap, you will have to change the display type from bar graph to word cloud by clicking on the cloud on the left-hand side of the screen. The question will come up on their phones. They will answer by choosing their personality style. As they answer, the different personality styles will come up in real time. The more of a personality style, the larger it will appear. When you are ready to begin Marriage in Today's World, you can minimize the Wooclap screen and put up the Marriage in Today's World PowerPoint. Remind them to turn off or silence their phones before beginning Marriage in Today's World. The second Wooclap activity is done as they return from lunch. Click on the left arrow on the word cloud to go back to the QR code. When most everyone is in, click on the right arrow twice to go to the poll question. Note that while the whole question does not appear on the screen, it will be on their phone. Answers in the poll change in real time based on the participants' choices. Once most have entered their answers, you can give them the correct answer, which is Pope Francis. This is the last Wooclap activity, so you can tell them that they will not need their phones again until Sunday afternoon, and that they can leave them in their rooms if they choose to do so. Remind them to turn them off or silence them before beginning the listening talk. As Joe mentioned earlier, be sure to read the transition statement that is on the PowerPoint slide of the listening talk, connecting this quote and the listening talk. Note that this is an activity to engage the couples and priests while waiting for everyone to return to the conference room. You should have the QR code up as soon as the couples start returning to the room. When several of the couples are present, put up the question. We created a half sheet of paper with a QR code to put in their workbooks or post in the conference room. To make this, take a screenshot of the QR code and add the Wi-Fi username and password of the facility. When all couples have returned, you can begin the next talk. You do not have to wait for all of the couples to participate in the Wooclap. On our experiences, we have found that the couples actually return to the conference room much faster because they wanted to be sure to be able to participate in the activity. We mentioned earlier that once you create the Wooclap event, it can be used over and over again. In order to do that, but only showing the results for your current experience, you will need to reset the event. Before closing out of Wooclap altogether, go back to the home screen of the event. Click on Reset Event in the upper right-hand side of your screen. A box will appear asking if you want to reset your event with all kinds of warnings. Click on Reset Event on the bottom right corner of the box. A little box will come up on the upper right corner of the screen that confirms that the event has been reset. You are all ready to use the same Wooclap for your next experience. Before lunch, you will need to invite the couples to bring their phones with them for the Sunday afternoon talk, Living Our Sacrament. In order to take advantage of our on-fire couples and priests and to get them immediately inviting, an inviting activity has been added to Living Our Sacrament. After the couples and priests make their refrigerator list, we are asking them to each text one or two couples in their contact list or on their refrigerator list, or take a selfie and post it on their social media. Here is the suggested wording for that inviting activity. Now we would like for each of you to consider texting two couples on your list saying, "Having a great weekend. Can't wait to tell you about the next time we see you." Or taking a selfie and post it on your social media with the hashtag Worldwide Marriage Encounter and the website wwme.org. If the priest is not comfortable with saying this, another presenting couple can say this. We thank Father Chris Hoffman from Region 5 USA for giving us this idea. Here is the new slide to be shown during this inviting activity. Because we added this slide there, our subsequent slide changes. Slide number 23 was added for sharing the dream for the financial part of the talk, and the sending forth slide is now number 24. Be sure to ask them to turn off or silence their cell phones at the end of this activity. So you are probably wondering, where do I find the enhancements on ELF? Log into ELF using either your wwme.org email address or your personal email address. Click on Team. Click on English folders. Click on Outline 2011. Click on 00 Enhancements 2024. The first folder is the Enhancements Supporting Documents. This folder contains changes to the talks, Wooclap instructions, an enhancement checklist to make sure that you've completed all the necessary steps to implement the enhancements, changes to the PowerPoints, banner information, and enhancement FAQs. Each document has specific information or instructions for each of these topics. The FAQ document has questions that were asked during the Zoom enhancement trainings. Next, there are 10 folders, one for each of the 10 talks of the experience. Within each folder, you will find the updated template, the updated outline, and the updated outline and mentality for that talk. We highly recommend downloading the most recent versions of these documents when writing or updating your talks. We also recommend that you ask the couples or priests that you are workshopping to download these documents when writing or updating their talks. Finally, the PowerPoints have been all put into one folder so that you can easily download them all. They are all in the folder labeled 00 PowerPoints with Enhancements 2024. Here you can see each of the 10 PowerPoints for each of the talks. As Joe mentioned earlier, it is important to download each of the PowerPoints to the presentation computer prior to the experience and prior to inserting your personal wedding photos. They cannot be successfully shown from the SharePoint site or from a flash drive. Be patient, as it may take a while to download them due to the embedded videos and music. It is also very important that the presenting teams and the tech couple practice using these enhancements during one of your pre-experience team meetings. This will ensure that everyone is familiar and comfortable with the enhancements.
Father Chuck cautioned us on becoming complacent and resistant to change. Our world is constantly evolving, and his challenge to us was to continue to adapt as well. Be visible, be present, be loving, and be willing to serve the needs of others, and never become discouraged. Father Chuck liked to say that the glory days are right now and those which lie ahead of us, not in our past. We have the ability to continue to do God's work in the vineyard by remembering the most important people in our movement are those yet to live the experience. Remember, you make a difference, one couple, one priest, one religious at a time. Thank you for being willing to step forward and help us continue to evolve the beauty of our experience. May God keep blessing you. We are here to support you. If you have any questions after viewing this video, please do not hesitate to contact us at joe.su.tallarico@wwme.org. We would be happy to talk or Zoom you through any questions that you may have. Thank you.